What's up everybody, it's Jason from Chicago Auto Pros, and do we have a special mini-series for you. We're gonna be detailing my new, 2016 GTI, new to me. I got this probably 5 months ago from a dealership, and they detailed it before I got it, but it just wasn't up to Chicago Auto Pros standards. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna detail the entire thing for you. It's gonna be split up into 4 different videos. This first video is gonna be how to properly prep a car for detail. Second video is going to be interior detailing. We're going to go through the entire process and then show you the different options to protect all the interior materials, leather, fabric, and your dashboard and everything. Third video is going to be how to do an exterior polishing. So we're going to go through machine polishing, how to take away scratches and swirls. Fourth video is going to be how to apply a ceramic coating. So this is going to be a step-by-step kind of a how-to tutorial type of video. We're going to go through all of our processes, the tips, the tricks, all the tools we use, and all the chemicals that we use to do this type of detail. So it should be interesting. I hope you get a lot of value out of this. Let's get started.
Distracting, hold of our issues, rather die with you. We no longer talk when it gets hard, so it only
Prepping a vehicle for detailing and paint correction is different from just your normal hand car wash. A car wash is a maintenance service to remove the brake dust, dirt, mud, and salt from your vehicle's surface. But over time, iron particles, tar, sap, bugs, and a number of other things can build up and embed themselves onto the surface of your vehicle. Most of these things will not come off with normal washing. So in this video, we're going to show you all the methods for prepping a vehicle to get it ready for the detailing process. Also, please show your support for this channel by pressing the subscribe button below. And if you want to be the first ones to know about a new video of ours, press that bell next to the subscribe button. I am going to leave some links in the description below for all the tools and the products that I like to use to prep a car for detailing.
All right, getting started, I like to start with the wheels and the wheel well area, suspension area. I actually took the wheel off to make all this access to all these parts on the inside of the wheel well and the suspension a lot easier. You don't have to take the wheel off to get everything clean, but it makes it a lot easier to reach all the caliper and all this stuff. So tools we're gonna use super degreaser, Meguiar's super degreaser. This is a great product, and I love using the Meguiar's bottle because on the back you can actually have the dilution ratio. We mix this 4:1 to clean. This is gonna be our initial cleaning of all the fender well, all these suspension components, and then the wheel. I'm gonna use this little 1-inch brush here to get into all the tight areas. I'm also gonna use, I got a little wheel woolly to get in tight areas, and then I'm gonna use just an all-purpose microfiber towel to kind of scrub all these parts here. So that's what you need. This is how it's done.
And again, removing the wheels is not necessary for this step. I'm taking the wheels off because in the next video, I'm gonna be polishing these wheels and applying a ceramic coating. So I do wanna make sure these wheels are as clean as possible. With the wheel off, I have access to clean the wheel well and the suspension components. I spray everything down with my chemical. I use a brush and a general purpose microfiber to scrub and clean. You can see the back of the wheel well had some grease that was caked on. To remove this, I use W7 tar remover. The fender well has a sound deadening fabric, which is pretty common on vehicles nowadays. I spray it down, I scrub it with a stiff bristle wheel brush, and rinse everything out with a pressure washer. Now you can use a garden hose for this, but a pressure washer is probably gonna cut your time in half. I repeat this process a couple more times to make sure everything is super clean. The wheels have a pretty thick layer of dust built on them, which needs to be cleaned off. I start the initial cleaning by rinsing the wheel and spraying it down with super degreaser. I use another all-purpose microfiber and a stiff bristle brush on the tire to clean all the road dirt and brake dust off.
That's all tar, add adhesive, and then in here, I don't know if you can get it, like inside here, look at this chunk here. It's a chunk of tar right there. Inside here, I can feel it, all kinds of built up brake dust right inside here, because this is a hard area to clean, inside this little lip here, and I can feel all the brake dust built up there, so I'm gonna use 2 different products for this. This is Meguiar's Iron Decon. This will help break up all that built on brake dust, all those iron particles that are sitting on the wheel.
Built-up brake dust is just metal particles from your braking system that have embedded and baked themselves onto the surface. It's hard to see on these wheels, but if you have a silver wheel, you can easily see the yellow rust deposits that build up. The iron decon that we're going to be using will dissolve all these metal particles. Simply just spray it onto the wheel and let it sit there and dwell for a couple minutes and then agitate it with a brush or a mitt. If you have a good buildup, you may need to repeat this process a few times to fully remove all these contaminants. For removing tar and adhesive, we go back to the W7 solvent. A plastic razor is going to help with the removal of these wheel weight stickers.
Last thing that you can do, this is optional if you want to use an old clay bar, you can, if it's still rough down here, which this is pretty smooth, there's not much there anymore, but I can use this clay bar here, get a little soap. You can use this with a little bit of soap and kind of remove anything else that may be still sticking that barrel there. I can feel some stuff coming off. See all that? Still coming off.
Anytime you remove wheels, you want to make sure that you torque it back to the factory specs. I'm going to leave these ones just hand tight for now because I will be taking them off later in the detailing process. Also, I'm going to put a link in the description below for anybody who likes the wheel stand that we're using.
Next step is just to do a normal wash. We're just getting all the standing dirt and dust off the vehicle.
I start my wash by rinsing the car and spraying it down with car wash soap. Best washing practices are to foam the car up, rinse it, use the 2-bucket method, but I'm gonna skip all that right here. I'm gonna be doing a full-on paint correction for this vehicle, so any marring that may come from not using perfect washing techniques will not be a concern.
All right, we just did our basic wash on the exterior. We're gonna come back to do and dress some other things on the exterior, but I'm gonna skip right ahead to door jambs. Door jambs are often missed in the detailing process, but I'm gonna show you how to do them properly here. We're gonna clean the door jambs here with this Citrus Power Plus cleaner and this 1-inch brush that we have here.
Door jamb cleaning is pretty simple. I spray my chemical and I use my brush to agitate and clean. You can also use a microfiber or a dedicated wash mitt for this, and then rinse.
So you can use a brush or you can use a mitt if you got a retired mitt that you don't use on the paint anymore. Don't throw it away because you can use it for the door jambs.
If you do get any chemical or water on the interior, make sure that you wipe this off right away with a clean towel. If the chemical sits on a seat and dries, it could cause damage. Also, don't forget that gas filler compartment.
Another use for the Citrus Power Cleaner Plus is the front grille area. It's hard to get these with a regular mitt or even a microfiber for that matter, so I like to spray them down and then use the same brush we've been using all day and get right into the grill here, and it'll get all those little spots nice and clean, those hard to get spots. right, we talked earlier about the differences between a detail prep and just a regular maintenance wash, and this is kind of where the difference maker is. Even though you wash the car, you can still have contaminants stuck to the paint surface. There could be tar, there could be sap, bugs, industrial fallout, and then you have iron particles from the wheels and the braking system that can embed themselves into the paint, and it doesn't come off with a normal wash. And you can feel your paint on the bottom here, on the sides, maybe on the tops, and a lot of times you'll be able to feel the roughness to it. If you really want to feel it, take a plastic sandwich bag or a bag like this, and then rub it over the paint. And then you can really feel.
Oh yeah. And then you can really feel
that roughness. So we want to remove that. In order to remove that, there's a few different ways. You can remove it with chemicals. We're going to start with an iron decon product. We're going to spray it right on the paint, and this will dissolve any ferrous metals that have stuck on the paint. And then we'll move to a clay bar, which is going to exfoliate the paint. If you ever used like one of those things that go on your nose and you peel it up and you see all these white heads and black heads come up, that's basically what we're doing to the paint. We're pulling all the contaminants off the paint so we have a super shiny, not shiny, super clean surface. We're going to make it shiny later.
If you've ever seen a white car with those little tiny rust spots on them, those are metal particles from the braking system that are stuck to the surface and beginning to rust. To remove these ferrous metals embedded in your vehicle's paint, you're going to use the iron decon again. We're going to spray it on the entire vehicle. It's safe for the paint, windows, and plastic, but I should warn you that any iron remover product smells a little bit like death and will probably burn your nostrils for the remainder of the day. When this product dissolves the iron particles, it has a reaction and it actually will turn purple. Let the product sit on there for several minutes. I actually like to wash it in with a mitt and then rinse it off.
All right, after the iron decon, you may still have particles or contaminants on the car that didn't come off. For instance, you could have sap. Sap's not gonna come off with that iron decon. If you do have sap in your car, I don't have any on this right now, so I can't show you, but I would use an isopropyl alcohol to get that off. If you have tar in your car, if you have a lot of tar in your car, before we go to the next step, which is a clay bar, I would use a tar and glue remover. W7 is a great product, so if you have a lot of tar, you can use just a microfiber towel, spray it on there, kind of let it soak, and kind of gently wipe it off. All right, if you removed everything from the vehicle, including all the sap and the tar, you can go straight to the clay bar. The clay bar is going to exfoliate the paint and get rest of those embedded contaminants off the paint so it's super smooth. So when do you use a clay bar and when do you not use a clay bar? A clay bar is kind of an aggressive step here. We're going to be rubbing it on the paint, and depending on if this is a fine clay bar, they do have more aggressive clay bars. Depending on your paint, it could leave marring and it could leave swirls. So it's a good idea, if you're going to use clay bar, I would polish the car, at least polish the car after you use this product. This is a 200-gram clay bar. This is AM clay. You can get this at Car Guy Supplies. You don't need to use this whole thing. What I do is I'd cut this in half, and then you make it into, you could probably even cut it in quarters. You make it into a little pancake here. We're gonna spray the car down with soap. You can just use regular soapy water. You can use O&R for this. The soap is a lubrication to help the clay bar glide along the paint. So what you're gonna do here is once you got your pancake is you don't wanna rub really, really hard. You just wanna hold that clay bar onto the paint and you're gonna gently rub it along the surface. If you do have a lot of contaminants on your paint, you're gonna hear it now and you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it really rough and then go into smooth as you are removing all those contaminants. With the clay bar, you can use it on all the painted surfaces. You can use it on all the windows. You could use it on wheels as we just did. The only surface that you can't use it on is any porous plastic. It's just, it's gonna stick to it and you'll end up leaving a bunch of clay bar in those grooves that are really hard to get out. So. If you have a really dirty car, you're gonna see this clay bar get pretty dirty pretty fast. So if it gets dirty, fold it up a couple times, squish it back into a ball. and then knead it out into a flat little pancake again. And then you get a clean surface.
You can see me using my second hand here to feel the paint to make sure that I'm removing anything still bonded to the surface. After a quick rinse of the undercarriage, I use the leaf blower to remove all the water out of the trim and the side mirrors, and then dry the car down with a microfiber waffle weave towel. The very last step of this process is the most important, and I think it really separates the good detailers from the great detailers, and that's to double check your work. Detailing is a super meticulous process, and without a doubt, I have probably missed something in this prep process, so I'm gonna go back over the car and recheck all the panels to make sure everything is clean and removed from the surface. Thanks for watching this video, everybody. I do realize that there is more than one way to do things. Please let me know in the comments if you have learned something in this video, something new, or if you have any tips or tricks that you'd like to share with everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.